We begin the story with a controversy surrounding the beautiful actress Chai. For months she had been suffering from severe headaches that had turned her life into chaos, and she could no longer hide them. Fans who saw her on the street believed she had become bitter, but that was never the reason. In fact, they even started preferring another actress of the same age who was always kind. However, Chai's situation worsened, and despite seeing multiple doctors, no one could find the cause. All they could do was prescribe strong medication, which had stopped working. This was draining her energy and causing problems during filming. She tried to carry on, acting as usual, but the excruciating headaches were impossible to hide. Her best friend, Sarah, who had debuted with her during childhood and often shared the stage, was always more popular. Sarah constantly tried to support her, but the comparisons were inevitable, and Sarah's kindness made her stand out even more. Another figure who captured attention in the entertainment world was Eun So, a singer and also a talented actor. With so many stars shining around her, Chai started to feel overshadowed. Though she took her career seriously, Yoon noticed how hard she worked. But one day, during a shoot, Chai's headache worsened so much that it delayed filming. She retreated to her dressing room, asking her agent for help, but even the strongest medications weren't helping anymore. Yoon, who had followed her out of concern, overheard her struggles and went to check on her. She confided in him about the pain, but then she almost fainted. Alarmed, Yoon instinctively leaned in and bit her neck. Yoon had remembered that his best friend Juson could heal humans by biting them, seemingly renewing them and even curing illnesses like colds. The best part was that after the bite, the humans would forget it ever happened. Jisun had long wanted Eun to try human blood, as Eun had only ever drunk blood from hospital bags. But this was the first time Eun had actually bitten someone. To Eun's surprise, the blood tasted incredible. However, Chai remembered everything, and she was furious. She accused Eun of harassment, and he was at a loss for words. Just then, her agent entered, and Eun hurriedly whispered that he would explain everything later, before quickly leaving. As soon as Eun left, Chai realized her headache had completely vanished. She assumed the medication had finally kicked in. Meanwhile, Eun was in shock. Had he bitten her wrong? Worse yet, he might be reported for harassment. But when he returned to the set, he saw Chai performing, and she shone like never before. It seemed everything was finally going right. She was even being praised for her outstanding performance. However, the new dilemma was how to explain why he had bitten her, especially since Chai wanted nothing to do with him. Eun knew he had to tell her everything. Later that night, Eun sent her a message asking to meet for lunch the next day. With no other choice, Chai agreed. Just then, her mother called. It seemed like her mother wanted everything her daughter earned, which wasn't much, and she always rubbed it in, saying that she was even more beautiful than Sarah. Yet Sarah was better positioned. Hearing all this and seeing Sarah in every advertisement made Chai feel terrible. She missed her grandmother so much. Maybe she no longer shone like she once did. The next day, just before lunch, Chai and Eun finally had a moment to talk. Eun didn't know where to begin, while Chai just wanted a written apology and to be done with it. But then Eun asked, "The pain hasn't come back since yesterday, right?" He quickly explained that it was all thanks to him, but warned that the pain would return. This scared Chai. She didn't want to go through it again. Eun added that the effects of his bites only last a week. When she didn't believe him, he whispered to her that he was a vampire. After biting her, she likely felt renewed, full of energy, with sharper senses. That's what happens with a vampire's bite. Still, Chai found it hard to believe. Eun told her to talk to him again in a week. Chai returned to the set, and there she saw her unrequited love, June. Hearing how concerned he was about her controversy reminded her that he was still the same guy she had met back in high school. However, he was also friends with Sarah, and they were closer since they belonged to the same agency. As usual, Sarah always seemed to overshadow everyone else. From that day on, Chai couldn't stop thinking about what Yoon had said. Could he really be a vampire? A vampire who wanted her blood? She wasn't sure if she could believe it. Meanwhile, June noticed Chai's focus shifting toward Ayun and felt jealous. He wanted all her attention for himself, but now, thanks to Ayun, he didn't have it. 2 years ago, June had met Ayun when both were cast in a drama. It seemed that Ayun had only a secondary role, but as soon as filming began, he captured everyone's hearts with his acting, and his famous line, "Come to me," attracted many fans. Because of this, June, who had a chance to win an award, lost out as Ayun's fame skyrocketed. Now, it seemed like Ayun even wanted to take Chai from him, though June knew that Chai was still crazy about him. As the days passed, it appeared that Uyan was avoiding Chai. But it didn't matter anymore. That night, her agent informed her that she might be offered the lead role in a drama written by the screenwriter Verano Azul. This excited her, and she knew she had to be well prepared for the day ahead. She needed to convince the director to cast her, as he wasn't sure due to the controversy she was currently facing. However, the next day her nightmare returned. The headaches came back. Meanwhile, Un was at home, enjoying a day off. He thought about Chai, as they had known each other since childhood. They had spent a lot of time together with Chai's grandmother, whom Un also considered his own. Chai's grandmother had asked Un to take good care of her, and he had promised to do so. Then he realized that today marked exactly 1 week since he had bitten her. Even though he wasn't supposed to work today, he decided to visit the set to check on Chai. On the other hand, Chai was feeling anxious. Today was the last day of filming, and tomorrow was her meeting with the director. If she didn't do well, she would lose this great opportunity. But the solution soon arrived when Un showed up at her car. At first, Chai couldn't believe she was about to resort to this, but she had to try everything. She told him how much she had tried to stop her headaches, but no doctor could explain the cause. After hearing this, Ayun offered to help. Just at that moment, Sarah arrived and saw them standing very close together. To avoid any misunderstanding, Chai quickly made up an excuse, saying they were practicing for a new drama she would be starring in. She then told Sarah about the project, a very promising drama, which immediately piqued Sarah's interest. But what piqued Sarah's curiosity even more was whether Chai was close to Ayun. Chai casually mentioned that she wanted to become closer to him. That night, Jun, feeling desperate, went to talk to Ayun. He was worried that maybe Chai was turning into a vampire or something similar. He was curious about the myths like sunlight and garlic, but Ayun assured him none of that was true. The only effect of biting someone was that it revitalized them. Despite this, Chai begged Ayun to help her by biting her every week. However, Ayun wasn't sure about it. She didn't have anything to offer in return, so for now his answer was no. Still, thanks to the bite from that day, she would be able to give 100% in her meeting the next day. Meanwhile, that evening, Sarah was talking to her representative, asking about the lead roles available at the moment. Her representative recommended the drama My Favorite Idol, the very same one that had been offered to Chai. But since Sarah didn't like the lead actor in the project, she turned it down, preferring to try a different genre that wasn't romance. The next day, Chai arrived nervously at the set of My Favorite Idol. She introduced herself to the screenwriter Myung Kim and the director Jong-go Lee. The director was the only one unsure about casting her, but Chai promised not to cause any problems. After reading a bit of the script, she began to act, completely convincing them, and she was accepted as the lead actress. Afterwards, the screenwriter Myung Kim wanted to talk to Chai. It turned out they already knew each other from when Chai was very young. Mrs. Kim had been an assistant writer on a drama, but she was often mistreated on set. One day, after a last-minute script change, she was blamed for everything, and the lead actress almost walked off set without filming. But Chai intervened, offering to film her scenes first, saving the day. Mrs. Kim noticed how exhausted Chai was back then, but was grateful for her help. Since that day, Chai had always been kind to her, which motivated Mrs. Kim to keep writing and chasing her dreams. That day, Myung Kim promised to help Chai when she needed it. This is why she recommended Chai for the role, besides her talent, of course. Chai took it all very seriously. She couldn't let Mrs. Kim down, so she was determined to get Un's help. On Thursday, there was a party for all the actors who had wrapped up filming on their latest project. Although Jun was with Chai, as soon as Un appeared, Chai slipped away from his side, which infuriated Jun. Jealous, he butted in, telling everyone that Chai was head over heels for him, so much so that she would do anything for him. This gossip spread quickly. Meanwhile, Chai sat down to enjoy her meal with Ayun. She didn't know what to offer in exchange for his help, so she did everything she could to please him, serving him food, giving him raw meat even though she didn't like it, and piling on more and more. It became a bit awkward, but Ayun just saw her as the same girl he had known since childhood. In the middle of everything, Ayun overheard people talking badly about Chai. At that moment, the actors from the cast began giving their thanks for participating in the project. But when it was Chai's turn, everyone looked at her with disdain, thinking of her as an easy girl. When it was Sarah's turn, however, everyone admired and praised her, which greatly irritated Ayun, who was a big fan of Chai. As the night was coming to an end, many people asked the actresses for autographs, but no one approached Chai. Jun, however, asked for one on behalf of his nephew, and they took a beautiful photo together. A little later, Yoon noticed some men whispering and overheard the whole controversy. He realized that the nasty rumors about Chai were all because of Jun's bragging. Yoon tried to confront them, but there wasn't much he could do to stop the gossip. Returning to Chai, Ayun found her still with Jun, but Jun blocked him from getting close to her, not wanting to make the rumors worse. Just then, Chai received a phone call, and when she stepped away, Jun seized the opportunity to try to make Ayun look bad by insisting he drink with him. Meanwhile, Chai got bad news. Her agent had been in a minor car accident, so she would need to take a taxi home. As she was on her way back, she ran into the director of the drama they had just finished, who was talking on the phone. Back at the party, Jun's plan to outdo Yoon backfired, and he ended up completely drunk. When Chai returned, she saw the state he was in and followed him as he staggered away to give him some water. Jun was on the verge of confessing his feelings for her when Serat showed up. Jun's agent had asked Serat to take care of him, so she took him away. After this exhausting day, Un approached Chai and suggested they take a walk together. During their walk, Chai told him about her exciting new opportunity. But, above all, how difficult it would be to deal with the headaches, especially if he didn't help her. She didn't know what to do to win him over. Maybe entertain him? Perhaps with a dance? Jun was intrigued, and Chai danced with passion. Even then, Jun still refused to bite her every week, but seeing her beg, he couldn't resist. Since another week had passed, he couldn't resist. Since another week had passed, he took her hand and not her neck. It was because her arms were always covered, but no matter where he bit, it would have the same effect. This time, the bite was her payment for the dance. A bit later, the party ended, and Chai was searching for a taxi but couldn't find one. Yoon offered to take her home. During the ride, Chai asked if Yoon's manager knew about his true identity. The answer was yes, but his manager wasn't a vampire. Just then, Chai received a call. Yoon remembered the last time he saw her, after such a long time, 5 years ago. He had been excited to see her again and thought she'd recognize him, but that wasn't the case. She, as always, ran straight into Jun's arms. That jerk always spoke badly of her, or made others think poorly of her. When Chai hung up the phone, Yoon asked her why she liked Jun. She didn't deny it, but hadn't realized anyone would notice. Even though she knew they would never be together, they had been friends for so long, and she didn't want to lose their friendship if things didn't work out. After talking a little more, they finally arrived at Chai's home. Over the next few days, Jin texted Chai and invited her to dinner to apologize for what had happened the other day. She arrived at the restaurant and was surprised to meet a handsome guy who assumed everyone knew him, but they didn't. He introduced himself as Leon de Pleeks, a huge fan of hers, and he would be starring alongside her in My Favorite Idol. As they started chatting, Jin arrived, and to Chai's surprise, Sarah was also there, immediately jumping to the wrong conclusion. Meanwhile, Yun had a visit from his nephew, who came with his mother. The boy wanted to see the autograph he had asked for, but surprisingly he didn't want Chai's, he wanted Sarah's. To make up for it, Yun promised to give him a PlayStation 5. His sister, on the other hand, was happy Yun had finally talked to Chai and reminded him that what had happened in the past wasn't his fault. Later that night, Yun found himself alone again, but he couldn't stop thinking about Chai. Meanwhile, Chai was with her friends, but she felt like the odd one out. The others were talking non-stop, and she felt like a third wheel. On the other side, Yun received a call from his best friend, Chaeson Cha, who was very drunk because his new relationship hadn't worked out. Being a vampire as well, Jason had lost control, craving human blood. To prevent him from hurting someone, Yun gave him his own blood, which woke him up instantly. Vampire blood tastes awful. Just then, Yun got a message from Chai. Jason, out of curiosity, tried to snatch his phone, and in the scuffle, they ended up in an awkward situation that looked suspicious from the outside. While chatting with his best friend, Yun learned that there were rumors about Chai being madly in love with Jun. Furious, Yun wanted to check on Chai and found out she was indeed with Jun. A little while later, Yun showed up unexpectedly, surprising everyone. Chai asked him to join them for dinner. He stayed, but when the women went to the bathroom, Yun confronted Yun, accusing him of being rude. Yun took this chance to tell Jun that he'd been hearing things that were bothering him. He asked if Chai knew about all the gossip Jun had been spreading. Of course, Jun denied it. Yun, frustrated, called him out for his big mouth. Jun didn't understand why Yun was getting involved, and that's when Jun finally confessed that he liked Chai. Yun was shocked, but Jun was confident that he was the lucky one. Yun asked if Chai had ever told him that, but Jun was sure, claiming that things between them were about to get serious. Just then, Chai and the others returned, interrupting the conversation. Jun, still acting cocky, tried to invite Chai to watch a movie. However, their plans were cut short when Jason arrived, and the group had to leave due to the late hour. Jun wanted to continue hanging out and suggested going to a bar, which Chai wasn't thrilled about. She had hoped to talk with Yun. Taking the opportunity, Yun whisked her away to a beautiful spot where he finally spoke about Jun. Yun wanted to know if, hypothetically, Chai would go out with Jun if he confessed his feelings. For Chai, that was impossible. She saw Jun only as a friend, and even if there were a chance, she wouldn't feel good enough to be with him. Hearing this hurt Yun because, for him, it was the opposite. Yun believed Jun didn't deserve Chai. He told her how much she shines when she acts, how everyone who watches her can't take their eyes off her. Yun couldn't understand why she kept doubting herself. But in that moment, Jun thought how much he wished he could have been the one, not Yun, to be the support Chai so desperately needed. After confessing all of this to her, he drove her home, reminiscing about their childhood. Once, while watching TV with Chai, she had promised him that one day she would win an award, and when she did, she'd thank him. The next day, Yun arrived at his agency only to find himself in a crisis. Photos had surfaced of him in a compromising situation with Jiseon. But since Jiseon's face wasn't visible, Yun was the only one caught in the scandal. He explained the situation to his team. None of it was his fault, but he had to bear the weight of this big news alone. As a result, he risked losing roles in romantic dramas and even sponsorships from female-oriented brands. The CEO of his label suggested that he start publicly dating someone to divert attention from the scandal. They even recommended dating Ruru, another vampire, but Yun wasn't interested in dating someone he didn't have feelings for. He hoped they'd at least let him choose his partner. Meanwhile, Chai was reflecting on how it wasn't the first time someone told her she shines when she acts. She thought of Yun, but remembered that he still hadn't responded to her request. The filming of My Favorite Idol was starting soon, and if she wanted to convince him, she needed to do her research. She started watching interview after interview to learn more about him, until she stumbled upon a link that suggested Yun wasn't interested in women. She wrote him a message saying she would always support him, and just then he called her. He needed help and asked her to come over. Chai arrived and Jun gave her the door code to enter. Just as he was about to explain something, Jiseon stepped out of the shower half naked and called Yun baby. If Chai had any doubts before about Yun not being into women, this moment confirmed it. Yun, embarrassed, tried to pull Ji-seong away, and of course, Chai was shocked. But it was inevitable. 2 hours earlier, Yun had been preparing for Chai's visit, but Ji-seong had shown up and rushed into his bathroom before Yun had a chance to send him away. Now, as Chai was about to leave, Yun managed to stop her. Meanwhile, the band Plix always ordered pizza and got blood from the delivery person. Today, it was Leon's turn. While eating, they watched a drama featuring Chai, and Leon was totally captivated by her. Back at Yun's place, Ji-seong tried to explain his closeness to Yun. After that was cleared up, Yun went to make coffee, but as he got up, Ji-seong grabbed his hand, and just then Chai walked in again, getting the wrong idea. Once more. Finally, once they were alone, Young explained the whole situation. He then reminded her that a week ago he had bitten her, and if she wanted him to keep biting her every week, he would help her, but in return she had to become his girlfriend. Chai was confused, but Yun explained that it was because of the rumors, which had started thanks to Jason, and given the situation, he couldn't deny them publicly. She understood perfectly, and since her label had already suggested she enter a contract relationship, she thought that dating Yun would make everything easier. They could meet once or twice a week, be seen together, and he would bite her then. Given both of their circumstances, it seemed like the fairest arrangement, but Chai didn't feel worthy of him, and wasn't sure if this was the best choice for him either. To Yun, however, she was wonderful, and that's what mattered. Chai asked for a little time to think, but she really needed his help today. Yun didn't hesitate to help her, and was about to bite her, but Chai wasn't quite ready. In the past, she hadn't been fully aware that he was going to bite her, but this time, thanks to the bottle Ji-seong had left behind, they used it to make the bite less obvious. As they sat together, they began to talk about life. Chai wondered if it wouldn't be better for Yun to truly date someone he actually liked. But he confessed that he was still in love with his first love, so for now there was no one else. The thing is, his first love was her. As they turned on the TV, Leon appeared on screen. Chai mentioned that Leon would be part of the cast for My Favorite Idol and would be one of the 3 main leads in a love triangle. Upon hearing this, Yun felt a bit jealous. Later he went to the kitchen, and when he returned, Chai was completely asleep, but when he heard her groan about a headache, he had no choice but to bite her. However, just as he did, she woke up. Startled, he stepped back and accidentally crushed the remote, which turned on the TV. A shocking news report flashed across the screen. The hottest celebrity couple, June and Sarah, were officially dating, according to their agency. Overwhelmed by the news, Chai got up. She was a bit flustered but thought it was fine. They always looked good together. She thanked Yun because she felt better now, though not completely. They began drinking to drown their sorrows. She was worried about Sarah because Jun had never been in a serious relationship before, and he always called Chai when things ended badly. Due to the situation, she told Yun she would do the contract relationship with him. They started listing the objectives, getting spotted by paparazzi, wearing matching jewelry and such. But she admitted she didn't know anything about love. Yun asked about her first love, and she barely remembered. It was when she was very young. He understood that maybe the boy never tried to reach out to her because she had always been acting. If he had wanted to, he would have already contacted her. Yun changed the topic and started planning everything for their contract. However, as the alcohol took effect, Chai suddenly began to see Yun as her first love. He resembled that boy a lot. She was about to make a move when Yun received a call. Noticing she was a little tipsy, he told her not to drink too much or she would regret it later. Chai had always felt gratitude toward Yun for looking out for her. However, now she felt awkward because he and her friend Sarah were dating. Jun asked her if she knew anything about Sarah, and she responded that she didn't. He was about to explain the news about his relationship when Chai spilled her drink, cutting him off. She ran to the bathroom, leaving her phone behind, and Yun, seeing that she hadn't hung up the call, answered it. He told June that Chai spilled her drink and had gone to the bathroom. June became annoyed, but Yun reassured him that everything was fine and congratulated him on his relationship with Sarah, telling him not to worry about Chai anymore because he would take care of her. After saying this, Yun hung up the call. The next morning, Chai woke up startled, realizing that things had gotten a bit out of hand. A while later, Yun entered, and she nervously asked if he remembered anything from the night before. Slowly, everything came back to her. Yun had brought her clothes to change into, and they continued drinking. She had told him that Sarah and Jun were her only friends, and that now everything would change since they were in a relationship. She added that she felt really comfortable with Yoon and asked if they could stay in touch, even after their contract ended. They ended up toasting to their relationship, though by then she was quite drunk. She asked why it didn't hurt when he bit her, and Yoon explained that vampire bites had an analgesic effect, comparing it to a mosquito bite. When a mosquito bites, you don't feel anything. Hearing this, Chai burst into laughter, imagining Yoon as a mosquito. He smiled too, but noticed she was very drunk. Then, out of the blue, she asked what would happen if she bit him, and if a human had ever bitten him before. Yoon was taken aback, but before he could respond, Chai declared that she wanted to bite him. Without warning, she gave him a huge bite, leaving Yoon stunned. That's how Chai fell asleep the previous night, and today she realized the massive mark she had left on Yoon's neck. She panicked, wishing she could disappear. Later, she showed up at the recording studio, where Miss Kim and Mr. Lee were excited to see her.